Hey, good evening. Welcome. It is time for another Fighting Words, the show here on Capcom Fighters, where we recap the world of Street Fighter V. Obviously, a lot to talk about. We've officially reached the halfway point on the Capcom Pro Tour 2020.
Halfway point.
The halfway point has been reached.
What a way to get
That's
there.
it.
Well,
officially.
A dramatic way to get there. But yeah, it's crazy how the time's just whizzed by then, hasn't it?
It has. It felt like nothing was happening for ages. It felt like everything had kind of... The world was paused. And I guess, in a lot of ways it still is. But the tournaments have just been flying past. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, we've got... How many names now have we got on the list of qualifiers? Let's have a look. We have, obviously, Idom, the returning champion, and
Yep.
8 other names. So we have, obviously, slightly a loaded back end because we have one event for Australia, one event for China. But other than that, the next event on the list, which is in 2 weeks' time, with back round to NA East 2. Then we'll have EU East and the Middle East 2, and everyone gets their second time. So... yeah, we're halfway there, and we've got a very interesting list of players that are in the Cup. Of course, added Nephew this weekend too.
Oh, what an addition.
We knew what he was capable of, but he wasn't certainly, I think, the favourite going in, and not many people. But even...
well, I'll have you know.
I know you were trying desperately to get your prediction in on Sunday.
That I did try desperately, and if you recall, you can ask Cobblecog, Evo 2017, I did say, after his match... this is the next kid to watch out for. Now, I may have been a bit premature with that statement when I saw Nephew versus Cobblecog. But I made that statement, and lo and behold, here I am predicting the truth. Mystic Max strikes again. I tried to call you guys, you and Jammers, but I couldn't get through.
Yeah.
And I was screaming Nephew down the screen. I actually sent a tweet, but because I was up north where the connection's really bad, that tweet is stuck in draft. I can show you that tweet now, actually. Nephew is going to win. Look at that.
Why are you typing the tweet out now?
There you go. It says it right there. So,
crazy.
As you see, guys, 3 out of 3. That is crazy. Not only did I predict that this kid would be the next big thing, but I predicted that he would qualify this weekend. I mean, just give me the mic already. I'm just too good. But yeah, please continue as you were saying, Logan.
How do you follow that performance?
What's he laughing at?
Nephew came through though. I was really, really impressed by his composure. The way that he was playing under pressure, and there was a lot of high pressure situations, obviously in that tournament as he worked his way through the top 8. At no point did I feel like he was flustered or playing out of his comfort zone, which is really impressive, given the caliber of play, given what was on the line. Given the fact that it was winner takes all, like second place is basically the same as going 0-2. You get the same for it.
As Nephew, Nephew's won a lot of local tournaments. Has he won a tournament?
No, he hasn't won a lot of local tournaments.
Well, in his history, right?
But we look back through like the last 2 months of Wednesday Night Fights online, and he got top 8 a bunch of times. We hadn't won any of them.
Not in recent times, but historically he knows how to win a tournament, right? I've seen Nephew win tournaments.
Yeah, he's capable of doing so.
But he's not won anything like this before. So just to echo your point, add to the points you just made, to the fact that this guy's never won something like this before, to play like that, that was just...
sensational. I mean, you go back and look at his history against Samurai. Samurai had very, very favourable history against him. We had the SFL preseason match that was 4-1 to Samurai, very comfortable. Samurai did lose to him in winners at Wednesday Night Fights last week, but he beat him 3-0 in the run back, and I think it was in losers finals, the run back. But when it mattered, Nephew came through, and as I said, the composure was incredible. I think you can look at maybe the composure of Samurai in a big tournament situation, which I feel is different. You get a different Samurai in casuals and weeklies to a big tournament Samurai, and maybe that's down to the fact that he doesn't have that experience of traveling as much, just the way that he approaches the game mentally, perhaps.
Yeah, he mentioned in his interview as well.
And then Strider, who he made a bunch of mistakes in the 2 matches that he lost.
Tons.
You saw like how good he is, but you also saw like that rustiness of not being active at tournament play.
Active, of course.
And it shows you. It's great to study the tapes and get the strategy down and really have an intelligent approach to the matchups. But you got to drill that into your muscle memory as well, boy. And, you know, it is what it was. It was also a controversial weekend.
It was, yeah.
So how was it for you, you know, watching it?
Well, look, speaking transparently, guys, I was on family with a holiday. And I promised the missus I'd go to bed early, so I didn't actually watch it live. I spent the whole of the Sunday watching it, and I actually stayed off Twitter. So when I came back on Twitter and I saw everything that happened after catching up with the archives, man, my mind was blown. Firstly, that first match between Nephew and Samurai, I think it was winners final, or it might have been winners semi-final.
Yeah, it would have been winners semi. Yeah.
That was ridiculous. That set was just insane. I mean, there's a lot of sick sets throughout, like Gustavo's performances as well. Alex Myers on fire as well. Snake Eyes Kage, just, man, I'm telling you, I'm having second thoughts about Kage. Like, I know it might be a bit premature.
I'm not.
I'm sorry, but dude, that character seems so unforgiving in that guy's hands. There were so many amazing highlights, but then obviously the drama on top of it, I wasn't aware of, because when you're watching the archives, you don't see what's going on Twitter live. Then I caught up with that afterwards, and I was like, hey, it looked like a pretty cool tournament. What's all the controversy about? Yeah. And man, it's been crazy to catch up with it all.
Well, we're going to go through everything this weekend that happened. Talking about it here on the show. Fighting Words, that's what we're here to do, myself and F-Word, on a Thursday night every week after a CPT event. But let's look at Nephew's run through the tournament that got him that spot. Let's have a look at these highlights now. We'll be back on the other side to talk specifically about Nephew.
Akuma owes a lot to Tokido, to be honest with you. He's going to get hit. He's going to get hit. And what a beautiful confirm. Again, Nephew being fully aware of how much resources that he has. So as soon as he saw that, he was like, oh, I've got critical alert on deck. Let's go. Gets away. Every time I see that Colleen crouching medium kick blocked, I always feel like it's negative, but it's not. But here we go. Samurai gets his own confirm into the critical art. These high-level players get so good at throwing everything in just a little off.
And now Nephew, his spacing is becoming immaculate here. He is walking out of those crouching medium kick ranges perfectly and countering with the back heavy kick every time.
Yeah, but watch out. Samurai is essentially but that dash into the crouching light punch.
Folks avoiding the throw.
People who backdash in the corner to avoid throws are just like, I don't know, like, how do you get the cojones to do something like that, man?
It's so smart. Yeah, I'm with you, James. I'm a scrub. I ain't trying to do that, bro. I'm too scared.
Oh, the other side. Goodness. What do you do?
With a nasty cross under right there to take the round.
Oh, man.
Well, Nephew lead. But again, this is the exact place we found ourselves in winter semi, so he can get comfortable. Fierce into the crush counter follow-up, of course. Oh, got him reaching that time. Very well done.
That's going to be a stun. Nephew looking real nice here in this first set. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was like going to be some type of reset opportunity and there was an execution error or what, but either way, Nephew still with a dominant lead here in this round.
Maybe trying to bait. Uh-oh. Yeah, not going to spend the uppercut. He wants to save some more of that V-trigger. Oh, nice! Uh-oh.
That was still such a good answer from Nephew, though, but
thought it was going to be on the other side. Samurai can get a combo into critical art right now and take this round. Oh, but the reactions from the corners himself. Again! Oh, nice! He says, look, if you don't get the combo, I'm going to counter. And now you're not even going to teleport out of here.
Super smooth from Nephew. Oh, my goodness, another STO. The life lead is essentially even now than the EX Icicle.
A throw again. One more hit. He just blocks, and then he tries to reach again, and Samurai goes down in the first set, being sent to loser's bracket by Nephew. You can't be eliminated until you're sent to loser's bracket.
And on the defensive end, now gets a crouch medium kick. Maybe tries to catch him off guard with the EX flip, but nothing.
Crouching medium kick again, beautiful syncopation timing, but look at it. Back throw though. Oh, this could be a huge mistake for... Oh, did you see him walk past this time to make sure he gets that? Backdash away from the throw.
So good. A little bit of V-trigger left. That's why he put out the fireballs, but he got under it with the last bit of V-trigger on Nephew's side and seals the first round, continuing this momentum.
Okay, forward throw here. Samurai now gonna get, again, hit by this big old combo. The damage, which side? That was probably supposed to be a teleport. all going Nephew's way now. One more for the stun. Oh, nice. Okay. Gets out of there, so the stun isn't the danger anymore. Gets the throw. Samurai now. Gotta find a way to drain the rest of his life. Gets the shimmy bait this time. And my heart can't take this, Rich. Yo, I'm too old for this.
STO in the corner now. Wow, waking up with buttons from Samurai. Actually did trade. Now the stun is there once he closes the distance with the vanity step. Ouch.
Oh, too far away for that to connect, which means Nephew gets the free punish. And here we go, close to stun. Can Samurai escape? No! Nephew is gonna go up 2-1. Medium punch with a crouching medium kick because he's expecting the fireball cancel, not a true block string. Oh, nice confirm into the juggle from Samurai.
This was really nice confirm. Oh, and the double leg kick into the back walk. Caught Nephew trying to take a throw.
Oh, he just
the raw DP, raw.
back through, not enough to kill. Oh. God.
Yo, it is anybody's game at this point. The EX Fireball. And no more V-Trigger for Nephew. No more ways to make it through those projectiles. He doesn't have EX Vanity Step either.
7 seconds. He can see it. Fireball. Samurai ties it up. It's 2-2. It is 2-2 here in Grand Finals. We are going to the final game. Dash forward check. You can tell. Oh, the crouching medium kick. No combo. Spends one bar. He still has one left. Nephew does not have an EX.
Goodness, Nephew, no flinching here. Does get a jump over this time. No flinching from Samurai either.
Again, avoids that. Oh, same thing!
I cannot believe this. Oh, crush counter here, but it did get an air hit, so no. Oh, wow, actually catching the cross up with the EX parry.
Oh. Towards heavy punch. That is nice air throw by Nephew. You're not getting out of this corner. No whiff punish right there from Samurai.
And then catches him reaching. We are going to a final round, James.
Oh, just running into fireballs now. No, that's 3 in a row. Here we go. Activation. What's the idea? Nice.
Beautiful timing right there. Able to avoid the fireball with the ice step.
And just like that, almost stun, and the life is right there. Gets the throw. Gets the stun. How much damage can he do in this situation? Can this kill? Is this going to be enough? I think it is. I think Nephew is going to be the Capcom Cup competitor showing up in December this year. Nephew.
That was an incredible Grand Finals. Two players who absolutely both equally deserve to make it to Capcom Cup based on their performances this weekend. And I spoke with Jammers about like the importance of consistency and form. Yes, I know that you can't really take anything from events that have happened before the CPT tournament and be like, yeah, this is like a prediction. This is definitely what's going to happen this weekend. But Samurai was so consistent week on week at Wednesday Night Fights.
Incredibly consistent.
Where he won 4 of them. Like in the last 7 events, he won 4, got like a 2nd and 2/4 or something. Like it was crazy consistency.
We've seen that a few times, haven't we? This consistent form coming into these
crazy consistency, and like even with that, still couldn't close it out.
No,
and I feel like
and he was in pole position to do so.
Do you know what this reminds me of? When you go into Capcom Cup, the number 1 player has never won Capcom Cup.
Yeah.
The most consistent player across the whole season
never
has never won Capcom Cup. And it just shows you like how important delivering on the day is.
Yeah, how irrelevant statistics can be when it comes to that as well. Because nothing quite compares to that magnitude. And I guarantee you that the most informed player across this season of online qualifiers, the 20 we're going to have in the finals, the most informed, everyone's favorite, may go 0-2. You know,
yeah,
it could easily happen.
I mean, who was it? Fujimura went 0-2.
Yep,
didn't he? Bonchan went 0-2. Bonchan went 0-2. Bonchan went 0-2 back to back Capcom Cup and Red Bull Kumite after winning like. What was it, like 5 or 6 Premier or Super Premier
easily
events?
For that period, the best player in the world. Yeah. Then suddenly this game is just...
It was mad.
you can't predict these things. You just can't.
No, but I mean, it gives you a good estimate though, right? Because Samurai did make it to grand finals,
Man,
so
he looked
he's still got that
incredible.
like 1-4 spread, but nothing guarantees you. And I feel like, people look at fighting games, and maybe specifically Street Fighter 5, they say this about, the best player doesn't always win and blah, blah. Listen, when you watch pro sports, like the NBA playoffs are happening right now, the best team doesn't always win every game. That's why no one goes 100%.
Of course, yeah.
Like, people have off weeks, people have off days. We see a huge amount of consistency in results in terms of players getting there at like top 8, there or thereabouts, Yeah. But it's not like, unless you're Fudo, it's not like you finish in the same spot every time, right? Sorry.
So, no, it's all love Fudo, but that's a great example, Logan, I must say. Great
Do you know what I
example,
mean? Like, no one wins every time. There's upsets. There's players just have weekends when they hit their peak, and Nephew definitely had one of those.
I'll tell you what, as much as we look at, Mike and, and his performance, and he was brilliant, obviously, but he didn't do what we thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
Even though he put himself in such a strong position to have taken out all the guys, and then the guy who came up, very similar to Punk at Capcom Cup, the guy who came up, who he had to face, is a guy that he's been bodying pretty much, right?
Yeah.
The same with Punk versus Idom, right? It's like, this is a guy you've been beating a lot. You got this. When it all mattered, it didn't happen. You got to flip it on its head and say, how did Nephew feel? He just lost to XSK Samurai in the winner's semi. He built his way all through those players, built some confidence, but he's up against a guy that's been whooping his A for the last, X amount of weeks or months. And he's like, in loser's side, he's got to beat him twice. So actually, as much as we say, look, XSK Samurai, man, damn, how could he not win that? At the same time, you got to say, holy cow, Nephew, what a freaking, against all odds to come back. And it wasn't like XSK was playing terrible. Nephew was just playing insanely good, in my opinion, from what I saw. And I've seen them play enough to say that, Mikey was on good form. But Nephew was just that bit better on the day. It felt like to me.
Yeah, man. Again, I want to go back to it. The composure that he had. At no point was he doing any desperate. There wasn't any desperation at all.
He had an annoying defensive game as well, though.
It was fantastic.
I'll tell you what, watching his defensive game, as much as I'm a fan of Nephew's, it pissed me off. I definitely got angry a few times thinking, that would have worked on me. Oh, the one time, give me a break. He's done a jab in the middle of my string. And it's the conversions, every single time. Jab, jab, EX. Okay, you're in the blender now. It's Colleen time. If he gets the jab into nothing and you blocked it, he's out of there. He resets. His escapes from the corner. She does not have the best escape from the corner.
No.
But he threw it in at such unpredictable times that he managed to get out of the corner, even against Gustavo, who has a guaranteed punish with the smash.
Yeah.
Multiple times he got out of there and it was just back to neutral for him. And don't get me started on that freaking...
Stan Fierce.
Don't get me started on that button. Man, just what a button.
He used the jab, the powered up V-trigger jab as well, really well.
Really well.
Look, I know how incredibly strong that V-trigger Stan Fierce is, but the jab is very, very handy as well. It occupies like medium space.
Dude, it's ridiculously good.
Fantastic.
So fast as well. A mid-screen throw loop as well. He used that super well. His reads on offense and defense throughout against everyone were just insanely good. I was really impressed with him. And also, a lot of the Colleen players have told me that Shotos are a bit of an issue for her, right? But it didn't look like that the way he played those matches.
Well, I feel like, out of all of the Shotos, you'd say that probably Kage, because of the red fireball, where he doesn't come forward as much as Shotos or normal fireballs, right? And that's one of his strengths. But Colleen always has buttons in that kind of mid-range where it's very risky to play a predictable fireball game.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that Samurai is really good at doing. Like, he's got everyone makes references to old school ST kind of play style that Samurai has, like that real old school West Coast kind of play style.
That fireball game.
Like that John Choi kind of the fireball game.
James Chen referenced that.
And his fireball game is very difficult to predict because he's just not active in neutral. He'll just walk back and do nothing until you feel pressure to go into his space. Then he starts doing things. If he walks himself back to the corner, when he starts feeling like he's given up too much, then he'll start defending.
Yeah,
but he's
so
not
interesting
he's not
style.
Overly. I've got the fireball game starting immediately now.
Yeah.
But Colleen's buttons to deal with that, the back roundhouse is incredible at dealing with Shoto fireballs.
Range, man.
Because not only the range, but the Shoto's hurt box comes out
extends,
super
yeah.
early. So you're going to get clattered for that. And she obviously gets combo off of the crush counter.
Yeah, confirmable
and you're in
too
the
as well.
The stand fierce, and even more so the V-trigger stand fierce as well. And when she's in V-trigger, she can react to the fireballs pretty easily.
But he was doing really well even without V-trigger, just with EX.
Yes,
as well.
exactly.
I mean, he was punishing the hell out of Crouch medium fireball. And then Samurai started trying to bait it, because it seems like you have to do that EX vanity step quite early, but
yes,
it didn't matter, because even if he does the first part, he loses a meter, right? But he just doesn't do the follow-up. It's like, okay, I didn't get the punish on the fireball, but you're not punishing me, So she seems to have some great answers for projectiles, just from what I saw in that. When she doesn't have meter, though, and she doesn't have V-trigger, and we'll talk about this in a bit more detail later, you start seeing like the cracks in Colleen's game, and XSK Samurai was so good at exploiting that.
I mean, especially against characters who don't have that forward-moving hurt box in their fireball game, like a Guile specifically, or a Sagat also. I mean, Urien doesn't really have the forward-moving stuff as well, so it's more so a Shoto thing where they just linger those hands out, and you're at liberty to get clattered by a preemptive button. But it's fascinating. We will go into more detail in some of these actual matchup points. But let's hear from the man himself, because we had the opportunity to speak to Nephew the day after his victory, after he'd let it all sink in and process, the first time at Capcom Cup. We're going to hear from Nephew right now and look at some of the highlights of his moments in the tournament that got him to Capcom Cup 2020. Let's hear from Nephew himself.
I go by Nephew within the game. My real name is Alan Sun. I'm originally from Michigan, then I went to school in Pittsburgh, and I'm currently in the Bay Area, or NorCal. I felt pretty confident. I feel like any time you play in a tournament, you have to have that level of confidence that you can win the tournament and can take the whole thing. I knew that my first match against Samurai was going to be really hard. I thought that going into top 8, I thought that Samurai was going to be my hardest match, and I was much more confident against everyone else. Samurai and I have had like a long history of playing matches, starting from like last year, since I just moved to NorCal and he's from NorCal. We played in Wednesday night fights basically every week. We would just be in grand finals together and play a set. We haven't been training as much this year because of COVID. The last couple of times we played online, he's gotten the better of me, I think. In the past Wednesday night fights online, in the Street Fighter League exhibition, he beat me 4-1. I think it's a really hard matchup as well. Akuma Colleen, like his fireball game is just, Samurai is really good at abusing how annoying it is for Colleen, and it's just really hard to get around. I think the reason his fireball game feels so strong to me personally is because he knows my strategy of how to get around the fireballs. He knows the things that I can do. I can press crush counter buttons like back roundhouse, stand roundhouse. I can try and dash in, try and get maybe a stand fierce if I get close enough. But he plays in ranges and only throws fireballs when it wouldn't work out for me, or when he knows for sure that I wouldn't want to press that button. Recently, the only times that we've played have been in the Wednesday night fights online tournament settings, and I think out of maybe 4 sets that we've played, I only beat him that one time last week in winners bracket. It's actually kind of weird. I feel like in casuals and in like local tournaments, he has like a much better record against me, but in more high pressure situations, I've tended to get the better of him. So in this tournament, we had Red Bull Conquest in our city last year, which I beat him in. There was like another Red Bull tournament, I think like Red Bull Finals in 2018, that I also beat him in. So I'm not really sure. I think our play styles change a little bit when we face those high pressure situations. So that could cause some of the match history there. I think for most of top 8, I felt really calm. In my match against Snake Eyes, in the last game, I felt pretty nervous, actually. It came down to last round, and I think he had the life lead in the last round. But normally, I try to keep my nerves under control. You can't control how fast like your heart is beating or how nervous you get, really, but you can control what you think about. And if I'm just focusing on the strategy that I have to take, and how I can win the round in front of me, instead of focusing on the mistakes I've made or what I could have done better previously. So the reason that I said that I wasn't as scared of Strider as Samurai, for instance, even though he's like a very strong player, is that going into this tournament, I practiced for G a lot because I had Chris CCH in my pool. And Chris CCH has actually beaten me like the last 3 times we've played. We played a first to 10 on Danny's heat check thing, and he beat me 10-6. And then I think in Wednesday Night Fights, he beat me 2-0 twice. So I knew going into this tournament, if I wanted to make it out of my pool and winners, I needed to come up with a strategy against G specifically. After beating Chris, I felt confident that my strategy would work, and it worked against Strider as well.
All about fighting against Cole Lane. Oh no, he got hit with the shimmy, but too far for the low forwards connect.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, that's pretty rare, but here we go. Nephew with the... Oh, baits out, yeah. Okay, baits out the EX Rasenha. His meter now.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's Punk, sometimes I'm like, you know, maybe he just really felt it that bad and was like trying to catch Nephew pressing something on the approach, but who knows? Either way, tries to use the slide to get out of the ice, but because it's blocked, it is going to be punished. And the shimmy, Nephew with the stun here. Enough damage could be on the table, but Seth, 925 health. I think he's going to survive for now.
Well, he's going to get the setup. Oh, okay. And oh, just a little too far away. That could have been it. Can Punk have the comeback of all comebacks? Stannis now, the light kick from Colleen. So good.
Moving to the West Coast, and NorCal especially, it's improved my mindset a lot and improved, I think, my overall game plan. Initially, I moved here last July-ish, and I just played with Samurai a bunch, and you know, his patience is crazy, and having to play him so much and just going to all of these random timeout rounds and making sure I didn't make any mistakes, that really pushed my mental limits as a player. And then moving in with Punk at the start of this year, I feel like playing against Punk, when you practice with him, he forces you to not make mistakes. Like, once you make a mistake, he'll punish you really hard for it if you make a bad decision. And it just like cleans all of that out of your system. So I think I've just improved as a player a bunch because of that. Also, I feel like he's just very naturally talented in how he thinks about the game. He's able to look at a situation and come up with the optimal strategy like right away, I feel like. So hearing his thought processes about that, like I'll ask him why he does a specific thing, or like why he or what he thinks about a situation. I think that's helped my mindset as well. So the night before the tournament, we had like a huge thunderstorm in our area that hit like right where Mikey or Samurai lives. I think it affected him, so he lost power. It also affected Snake Eyes. So Mikey messaged me about like 4 or 5 hours before the tournament started, saying his power went out, and I told him he could come to our place because Punk, he wasn't in the tournament, so he could use his PC, and Punk was okay with it. So Mikey tried to figure out if he could do anything else, but like his power didn't come back, so the only thing he could do was come to our place. And yeah, we played our match here. He beat me, and then he said his power came back, so he went home.
Raw activate on top of everything else. Oh, but Nephew able to stop the approach once again. Put him on life
Knew that he
support.
had to start going in because look, there's no time left. So Samurai had to try something. Okay, and now we've got to watch out for demons. I think that's what he was trying to fake there. But then we also got to watch out for confirms, but I don't think it's going to matter. We're going to get the the air throw this time.
I felt really good about winning the tournament. Normally after a tournament, you'll lose and then you'll have a bunch of regrets about the mistakes you made. Like, I made plenty of mistakes in that tournament, and if I got second place in this tournament is brutal. Like, you get absolutely nothing. And if I got second place, I would just be thinking about like 20 mistakes that could have won me the tournament. I'm glad that didn't happen, and I'm really happy that I won. It's still sort of unreal to me that I'm going to be in Capcom Cup. It's not a stage that I've been on before, and it's just been like this really prestigious thing in past years. And seeing other players from like the US win it, NuckleDo, Idom, it's been inspirational for me as a player, so I'm really happy to be able to represent this year. I'm really looking forward to Street Fighter League because the past couple of months, I feel like I've improved a lot, like living with Punk and just thinking about the game a lot. And the problem with quarantine is that we've only been able to play in online tournaments, and it's like the same people entering the online tournaments each time. So it's really hard to really see how far you've progressed as a player. So being able to play at Street Fighter League, playing these really top level players in offline competition will really test my skill.
Hack dash from Snake Eyes gets him out of that throw range.
Oh, a little bit too far away. But there it is again. Ice Skates getting in there with that crouch. Yeah, you can't get away with that. That is definitely not safe. Combo here for the stun, but Nephew gets out of the corner. I love that air fireball to change the jump arc and just make it so Nephew didn't have the anti-air ready to go.
Yeah, that was super smart from Snake Eyes, and great stuff from Nephew too, not committing to anything afterwards.
Alright, throw in the corner. The life is equal now. And then the throw again, and that means you're gonna have to block some more hail. Activate uppercut, too late! And the punish from Nephew!
I feel pretty attached to Colleen now. I've been playing her since she released back in 2017, I believe. I was originally a Ryu player, and then Ryu got nerfed a lot, so I decided to pick up the next character that came out. And I picked up Colleen. And she just looked really cool from launch, and I remember seeing all of her crazy movement options and thinking it would be really cool if someone could optimize this stuff, and I wanted to try it out myself. And I think I've definitely pushed the character, pushed her meta, just her overall strategy a lot, but I couldn't have done it alone. There's a bunch of other Colleen players that have pushed her just as much as I have. Neon is one of them. I definitely stole a lot of tech from him back in Season 2 and Season 3. Momochi is another one that I respected a lot. He really showed how footsies could be played with Colleen, and he's one of the best players at footsies. And even if he hadn't learned all the setups or optimal combos and stuff like that, you could see his game plan and how he could implement his footsies and his strategy. Actually watching Punk as well for a similar reason when he played Colleen, he's not doing the optimal stuff either, but he's winning, and like there's a reason for that. It's because his strategy, it's because of the way his patience and footsies pays off. I would say that Colleen in the tier list is probably top 10, like just outside of top 5. Like there's a couple of other characters that I think are like she's as strong as that are in top 5, but they're just more well-rounded characters while she struggles to deal with fireballs. I feel like to be a top tier character in this game, you have to be able to have a lot of options, a lot of ways to get around things. And Colleen, she does have a lot of options, but some of them just don't work out against some characters. Yeah, definitely. Like her wake up options just don't beat grabs, even though she has like 5 different wake up options. I know there was like a clip that was posted on Twitter earlier back this year, and then it was someone like throw looping. Like it was a Colleen player throw looping someone, and then Neon said like learn the matchup or something, and then people got real mad. Yeah, he just said lab it. And I think people got mad at that for that reason, and then people just started complaining about Colleen. So that might have just inflated their perception of Colleen as a character. I think another reason that some like not super top level players might think that is because they haven't really fully understood the strategy against Colleen. Like, you'll see people complain about her stand fierce and how in V-Trigger it just does a bunch of damage, but they'll just get crush countered by it in places you should not be pressing a button anyways. To be honest, I don't really understand why they have Colleen that high. I think she is a really strong character, and like she does a lot of damage, and her V-Trigger is very strong. But like my reasoning for her not being that high is because of her matchup spread, and I can't really understand, or like I can't understand Japanese, so I can't really understand their explanations. So I would love to see exactly why they think that. I think Colleen does pretty well against Rashid. I think she can fight him in neutral pretty well. It's really only in the corner where Rashid excels, but that's just Rashid against every character, basically. I actually think her matchups against like top tier characters, like that's kind of where she loses, because a lot of the top tier characters have fireballs, like Akuma, Guile, G, and that's where she struggles. So
Aggression from JB, bro, is not to be understated. You can see it's already put him in this position again, but used it against him this time. The EX parry coming out one frame. Jump wall clean. Great jump back to keep him locked in the corner, though.
Oh, see? Just do it. Just do it. Oh, but it's not going to work out this time. Not quite stunned. That's going to do it. And Nephew said, you know what? I've watched that 2-minute tutorial as well.
Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're on Capcom Cup point. He's going to do it.
You saw right there, beautiful stuff on that roll. And now here we go. Potentially one mix-up left.
And once again, JB lays his life on the line with the EXDP, and Nephew's like, I've played you once or twice, my friend.
So I'm actually not focusing on gaming full-time. I also work full-time as a software engineer. I originally moved to NorCal for work, so I started work last July after graduating from college. And yeah, it's been pretty sick. I feel like my job is pretty chill, which allows me time to like focus on gaming as well. So I was planning on going to tournaments this year and going to a couple of international tournaments as well, but COVID hit it and can't really do that. Yeah, I think I get paid enough to like reasonably travel, but obviously I would love a sponsor because that just makes it easier on myself. Like sometimes it's hard to justify going to a tournament all the way across the world when you know that you can't win that much back in prize money. But if you have a tournament, then you can focus on competing and not worry about those kinds of things. I think out of the current qualifiers, I definitely want to play against Daigo. I've never played against him, and he's just an absolute legend, and he's at his strongest right now, so I just want to play against him to see what it's like. I also want to play Idom since it's just been a while since we've played. I don't think we've actually ever played in tournament, but we've played a lot of casuals together. And he's the current Capcom Cup champion. We're actually in the same group, so I'm definitely going to be playing against him, so we'll see how that goes.
But you can see how scared both of these, well, respect is the way that we usually put it, you know. Hard for both of these players to try to initiate getting the offense, but Nephew did get the initiation. And there we go, that stand light punch, the extended range.
Man, that's such a heartbreaker because you know he had V-Trigger on deck. He wanted to press the button into the V-Trigger, but all that pressure from Colleen, there's no gap to do it in. And when you're on the verge of a stun, it's a 50-50 whether you're getting thrown or hit. So that time he just guessed wrong. He tried to take the throw, but he couldn't get it. Oh, no! And now Nephew riding that momentum. Going to be another stun here, this time in the opposite corner.
Yeah, he's got plenty of meter. How is he going to spend this? Is he going to go? Not going to spend it at all. In fact, save it, gets the throw, but you are never victorious against G until G is dead, but the shimmy again.
Yeah, so I really have like a couple of months of free time at least until Capcom Cup to just do whatever I feel like. I'm definitely going to be preparing as hard as I can for Street Fighter League, so focusing on studying those players specifically. But besides that, I think I'll try creating more content. I think that's a very important thing as a pro player to be doing. So I'm gonna spend a lot of my time doing that, I think. Yeah, so it's kind of whatever comes to my brain, I'll try and make it. In terms of the content that I create, I remember back last year when I was creating those educational videos, I called them concepts of fighting games. I had like a couple of really cool ideas, and I think I executed like two of those videos, but they took a lot of time, and I just felt like they weren't worth it in the end. But I had a lot of fun making them, and I think they're actually very useful for players to watch. Like, while I think educational content is useful, like, it's a thing that has to be in the FGC for new players to learn from and like grow as players. I think to grow the FGC and to make it more accessible, like, people have to find these entertaining types of videos. Like, it's the reason why so many people started playing Street Fighter 4, like, because of Excellent Adventures. A lot of people watch Excellent Adventures and were like, this is entertaining, Street Fighter is a really cool game, we should try and play it. So I feel like there's a lack of that currently. There's a lot of people trying to make content like that. Punk's YouTube channel has content like that right now. Brian F is making content like that.
Bit of a frame kill jab into the throw right there. Oh, doesn't confirm the crouch medium kick this time.
But corners himself again. Oh, nice. He says, look, if you don't get the combo, I'm going to counter. And now you're not even going to teleport out of here.
Super smooth from Nephew. Oh my goodness, another STO. The likelihood is essentially even now than the EX Icicle.
A throw again. One more hit. He just blocks, and then he tries to reach again. He's running into fireballs now. No, that's 3 in a row. Here we go, activation. What's the idea? Nice!
Beautiful timing right there. Able to avoid the fireball with the ice step.
And just like that, almost stunned, and the life is right there. Gets the throw, gets the stun. How much damage can he do in this situation? Can this kill? Is this gonna be enough? I think it is. I think Nephew is going to be the Capcom Cup competitor showing up in December this year.
Punk actually told me this morning that he wasn't sure if he was going to play in the next online tournament because the lag just frustrated him a lot, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to actually go through that again, which I understand. Like, he went through a bunch of super laggy matches that were pretty much unplayable, but if he does play in it, I think he has a really good chance of taking it. I think against like everyone that was in top 8, at least he normally beats them. He even online, like in the Blink tournament earlier this year, he had really convincing victories over everyone, including Samurai. So I feel like he has a really good chance to win it if he does decide to compete in it.
That's what I'm saying.
Really insightful interview there from Nephew. Some great answers.
Yeah. No. If listen, also when Colin does the fierce, you can confirm that every time. Yeah, listen, dude, I got you, man. Congratulations on winning. If you need any more advice, just give me a shout. I got you, man. All right, Nephew, man. Hey, grats, bro. Grats. All right, take care. We're ready to roll? When we do the next part?
What are you doing, mate?
What's up?
We're on.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? I was just talking to Nephew. Crazy that you got that on camera. Yeah, he was just giving me thanks for all the advice I gave him leading up to this weekend. Actually, can I just say as well, I mentioned earlier, 2017, I called that this kid would be the next big thing. Remember I said that, right? Actually, just looking at the FG Combo website, he hadn't won a single tournament in 2017. After I called him to be the next big thing, he went on to win his first 2 tournaments in 2018. And now he's won Capcom qualifier. So just saying, prophecies are all there. Congratulations, Nephew. Listen, extremely insightful interview, I must say, Logan. I mean, I really love some of those answers. How about the fact that they had Samurai over at their place?
Yeah.
And then Samurai wins, right? It goes back to his normal connection, and then he gets reset and then loses the tournament. That's fascinating. But what an awesome bunch of guys. What an awesome scene, the way these guys help each other out and level each other up the way they're doing, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? Because the NorCal scene in general, like, it's always been a hub for really strong players. A lot of people move there and work, right? Yeah. As he said, Nephew.
Oh my God, full-time developer. I had no idea.
I had no idea that he was working full-time. I just thought he was on this young man on the content grind.
That's it, right?
that TikTok going off. But yeah, a lot of people moved to NorCal, and we've seen it with like Justin, I think moved there originally.
Original
PR
East Coast
Balrog
guy.
moved there and worked. A lot.
Tell you what, he had a great weekend as well. I must say.
He did. Class is permanent.
That's it.
Form's
That's it,
temporary. He's got that new V School too as well.
Doesn't hurt at all with a guy with his foot season, not at all.
You get me? But yeah, that community has always attracted really strong players, and they've always been there. But you haven't really seen those high-level pro players that move there, like go and attend the regular events as much. Like you always had WNF in LA and SoCal, and like their players always showed out throughout all of Street Fighter 4 and the early days of Street Fighter 5. You'd watch and it'd be all the stars.
Yep.
You look at the players that lived in NorCal, and a lot of them didn't go out.
They didn't.
They didn't come out for a lot of their events. So it's nice to see this younger generation like making that effort to come out and train with each other and level each other up. And it clearly, as you can see in every community, in literally every community anywhere in the world, if you get together and you're labbing it up and you're training offline, online in groups, getting the battle lounges up, you see the amazing effect it had in DR. You know, the number of players that have just been leveling up continually there. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Speaking from experience, I don't want to sound arrogant now, but there were certain matchups I felt like we had a situation in Knightsbridge with a guy called Ahmed. You know, you guys might remember him in the UK.
Castle. The
castle, we called it, right? And his parents rented him this massive flat in Knightsbridge, central London, and we used to just go there and just play GGs whenever he wasn't at university. It is the strongest we became as a group within particular set of matchups in any time in our Street Fighter 4 history. There were certain matchups, it didn't matter who we played in the world. Andreas would always beat that character. Ryan Hart would always beat that character. F would always beat that character. Like, guaranteed. Just from that exposure. These guys are going even deeper because they're, like, arguably, not saying, I mean, they're definitely more talented than me because they play more than one character for one. So having a guy like Punk in a house with you, who's already so methodically good, who's a master at carrying, but also very efficient at the game in general, and can just pick up any character and be effective. What Nephew said there just really rung true to me, because imagine being in an environment like that with a guy that good and just sucking up that knowledge.
Well, he mentioned the fact that when Punk plays Colleen, obviously he's not doing the optimal stuff, but just the way that he approaches playing the game and like how he breaks down problems. I think that's one of the most fascinating things. And actually, 801 Strider said it in his pre-match interview on round one.
Yeah.
That a lot of the things that he takes from watching tape, and you can apply this to just having conversations with other players, the way that they're putting together solutions to problems and situations. How do you deal with that situation? How do you deal with that reset? How do you deal with that setup in that matchup? What are you doing? How are you avoiding it? How are you getting out of it? What's the choices that you're making? You can watch that and apply that to your own game. And I feel like being exposed to that high level players clearly, you know, rubbed off on Nephew. And I didn't know anything about Colleen until I started watching Nephew, Neon Verte, and Punko.
What about Tyrant? You didn't watch a bit of Tyrant in there, no?
Tyrant didn't use Colleen like right away, did he?
No, I'm just teasing. Tyrant's got.
Does he still use Colleen now? I don't know.
Here and there.
Does he even play? I don't know. Does he play?
Yeah. I mean, when he's not playing DBFC, he's playing a bit of Street Fighter here and there. Yeah.
Fall Guy all the time. He's a Fall Guy stream. I love you, Tyrant.
Shout out Tyrant, man. I love
Wash both of us, including you.
Well, I don't know about that.
Definitely including you. So yeah, but he was innovating that character, as he said. What? It's such an arbitrary decision as well. Yeah, okay. Ryu at the end of season 1, they took away all of his Oki, completely broke the character down, didn't really function at all how he should have done. Who's the next character to be released? I'll just play them. Yeah. Colleen, all right, cool, let's have a go. And he really did innovate that character.
He's been with us from day.
Yeah, from day. Like I said, everything I learned about Colleen back in the early days when she only had that V-Trigger 1 was from watching Neon and Nephew in America, and a little bit of Punko as well when you got to see him play.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating to see how far he's come. I will give him a bit of a kick up the butt for the slight downplays. Now, having said that, ultimately I do agree with him.
I think it was quite fair.
I do agree with him. No, not necessarily the top 10 place, and I think that's understandable. But you're just getting hit by the fierce punch because you're pressing a button in the wrong space. It's absolutely true, but I mean, the reward she gets is not comparable to most characters in the game. Having said that, we'll go into this in a bit more detail in the next segment. There are areas in his tournament run where you really see highlighted the limitations of Colleen. You know, she is a fascinatingly strong character. She's so creative, but she is highly dependent on meter and VT, and we'll talk about that a bit later. And in general, even though he made it look easy at times, the fireball game is really uphill for her in a lot of matchups. I mean, he punished like something like, I think there was one round where he punished something like 3 out of like 20 samurai fireballs, and he managed to win that round. So the reward when she punishes is quite significant, but she needs resource to punish, and the concentration required to punish is super hard because they're not rapid punishes, they're quite slow. So I see exactly where he's coming from, and I do agree. And I've been teasing Tyrant saying Colleen's easily top 5. She's easily, if you look at just maybe that top 10 and common matchups, maybe she is a top 5 character. But if you look at the overall cast, she's got a lot of surprisingly uphill matchups compared to other top tier characters.
He put across that he feels that she isn't top 5 because she doesn't do well against the specifically top tier characters.
Some of the top tier characters with projectiles, right? Yeah.
Because a lot of them do have access to projectiles. But
I also think she struggles against some characters who don't have projectiles. Yeah. 1 or 2 as well.
I would say so.
Where other top tier characters either beat or go even with those characters.
The other thing you have to remember as well, like, a Shoto is not going to beat you by throwing fireballs. That's not how they win. No, the fireball is there to set up a dash. It's there to set up a whiff punish. It's there to throw you off your game, right?
Well, unless you're a samurai, though. There was a few rounds where he literally won just throwing fireballs and DPing, which is just, I don't know how he did that.
Fundamentals. But for Colleen, if you're just playing on the ground, that's really good for her. Really good for her. The way that her mid-range buttons are, especially when she's in V-trigger, if she can make you afraid to engage in that kind of mid-range, then she's got an unreactable half-screen dash that puts you in a mix-up immediately between frame trap or throw. So that V-trigger lasts forever as well, by the way. Like it reminds me of like Bison's V-trigger 2. It just doesn't go down. No, it just doesn't. It's just frozen there. No pun intended. It just doesn't. The gauge just doesn't go down.
Even when she's using it, she gets a lot out of it as well.
Yeah.
I will say he mentioned that Colleen was getting a bit of heat online. I'll put my hand up. I was kind of one of the reasons why that kicked off.
You can't lab that V. There's nothing to lab in that V-trigger.
My argument was fair though. I wasn't even saying that what Leon was saying was a bit silly, but I understand where he's coming from. My argument was, hey man, if that V-trigger was 3 bars, she'd still be sick.
Oh, definitely.
But all the Colleen players were like, no way, man, she'd be irrelevant, she'd be down. Like, no, she wouldn't. I actually think that is, in essence, when you compare that to other V-triggers,
I mean, it's not like she's ever V-reversing, right? So
one of the worst V-reversals in the game.
She'll still get the bars. She'll still get the trigger. You don't really see Colleen players, I don't really see them use 2 V-triggers around. Normally because she activates V-trigger and wins anyway. But I can't, it's not like Ibuki where I'm like, she's just going to get 2 V-triggers.
She doesn't build V-gauge like that, does she?
It's mainly going to be from her crush counters and taking damage, so it's an interesting one. We'll go into the kind of matchup specifics. I know you want to do a nice bit of analysis for us.
Oh man, some of the stuff that
we're going to get into
this.
The specifics. Try and break down some of the play that really was putting Nephew over the top in this weekend's tournament. We're going to take a short pause for the calls. We'll be back on the other side, and F-Word is going to regale you with his fantastic insight into breaking down some of Nephew's top plays this weekend. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short message.
I'll take you downtown. Boom! That's how you start the fight and finish it quickly.
Let's have some fun.
Let me zap you. Here we go.
Terrific wing!
My unveiling. I will be exposed to the entire world. When the time of the prophecy comes, when all is revealed, then the people of the world will rejoice, already knowing who I am. Call me Lord and Emperor.
God's will. Time to return to harmony. Seraphic wing!
My perfection does not require any training.
Beyond the battle!
Get ready!
Destroy! Begin!
Let's go!
Disappear!
Kneel! Strength to crush the spirit of the king.
Alright! I really like to exercise. And training is a lot of fun.
Time to meet your death, vile insect.
Pull out all the stuff!
Hadouken! Resurrection! Witness the power of the continent! This is the power of the king!
Paraneuro device expansion completed. Pseudo-personality asset is imported properly. Biological brain connected. Dawn unit 0. Startup sequence will begin.
Well now, little piece of junk. Time to wake up.
Dawn unit 0. Activate.
Well, Joey, who is a piece of junk?
Installed.
Show me something worth taking. Vega will reside in me for eternity.
Welcome back to Fighting Words with myself, F-Word, and the one and only Logan Sama, catching up on what was an incredibly exciting, controversial, emotional, unpredictable CPT this weekend pass with the one and only Nephew booking his biggest tournament win in history. And I think we want to spend this segment, Logan, highlighting not only Nephew, but some of the other guys in the tournament, some of the incredible play we saw. Because these guys being exposed to each other as much as they are, the levels they are getting to with some of these matchups, the specific options in some of these matchups. And that interview with Nephew stands out even more looking back at some of the moments I highlighted, because clearly this guy's gone away and studied specific Colleen answers to specific challenges in certain matchups. And we'll look at some of that as we go through some of these segments.
All right, what's the first one on the list that you wanted to pull up?
Well, there was a round. So let's back Nephew up a bit here, because he has said Colleen's a very strong character. She does have limitations. We agree. One of the limitations I mentioned earlier that we want to look at in a bit more detail is her lack of ability to really continuously hurt you or to make you pay when she doesn't have V-Trigger or meter. Now, don't get me wrong, meter's very accessible in this game, and so is V-Trigger, right? But there are long-term scenarios and periods you'll find yourself in where you don't have meter. And one thing I found really impressive about Nephew this weekend was a few scenarios where he had no meter or V-Trigger, he was still able to play incredibly well and win the round.
Yeah, I feel like if you're not overextending yourself, because the one problem that Colleen has, right, is defensive options are not great. You have to make some big reads. She's really susceptible to throws as well.
Very susceptible to throws,
Like she has one frame EX parry, but you have to make the read on what that's going to be as well. So for her, like, if she overextends and does get knocked down off the back of it, then it's not good time for her. It's not, and at the same time, she doesn't play very well when she's having to deal with like half screen fireballs either. So there's like a very fine line in between that. You picked out one specific round out of the winners semi-finals, which is kind of deep into the game. They've already, they've had their initial back and forth, Nephew's already pulled out into the lead. So do you want to like have a go through this? Let's take a look at it.
What I love about this round is Nephew's coming into this round with no meter, no VT, like I mentioned, and XSK Samurai, playing a character that has a bit more damage and momentum access without meter, right? So it's very important that Nephew gets off to a good start in this round. So we kick off the round and straight away XS Samurai goes in.
See, that was a lucky break there as well, because he immediately like got off with a whiff punish that would have been significantly dangerous to him, right? Where he whiffs that back roundhouse and the standing medium kick whiffs, he gets away with it. But as you said, he managed to make a number of correct reads here.
Yeah, he's sacrificing damage for momentum, right? He's made those reads 3 in a row. He's now made 4 reads in a row. That was 50% of the cost. Akuma's stunned. And you may have probably won the round, but Akuma's still alive in this situation. So you're seeing how delicate she is without meter and how little damage she does without it as well.
And now you're seeing getting thrown in the corner. But as soon as he gets the bar, he is on his horse.
He's more. This is what I was so impressed with Nephew about.
Back throw into the corner, having to hold that throw again, and the pressure
he's gone.
Immediately uses it.
He's fully aware of where she's at her, and you said already, and he said it, in the corner, especially against characters like Rashid and Akuma, not a good place to be. He wastes no time. He's happy to play with no meter. More than happy.
Again, that back roundhouse.
Yeah, there was a number of like whiffs in mid-game. You're going to get away with them in SF5, right?
Samurai's on point though, boy. Like fractionally away from whiff punishing.
So close. And that stand medium kick whiff punishes them from a mile away.
I have to say, Samurai use of the walk speed of Akuma and the low forward fireball across the weekend. There's the activation though.
And there's no meter again. So imagine what that would have been, that activation, if he had the meter. He didn't. Gets opened up now. Got to guess right. Demon's there as well. Thought he was going to try and run away from the demon. He bet right by sitting there. And now the V-trigger's activated. Finally, second bar in that entire round. And he's able to close it out. He made about 8 correct reads on offense and 3 correct reads on defense that round. That is not a scenario in Street Fighter 5 that I would say is going to be successful in the long term.
That's a lot of correct decisions to make to win a round, right?
To win a single round.
Against characters that, at best, maybe only have to be right twice.
Exactly.
And probably at worst, it's like 5 times. You know what I mean?
This is it. So I was super impressed with that round. I just remember watching it being like, hold on, he's hit him about 5 times. Why is Akuma still alive? So I rewound it and I was like, oh, okay, she's got no meter. She doesn't really hurt without me. She could do more damage on those hits, but then she sacrifices a bit of Oki, you know. So I really loved the way he played that round. That was super impressive. So I wanted to highlight that because there was loads of rounds where he did the typical Colleen stuff, right? And he reset and he put it on the other side. I mean, Strada got hit by a few things as well. But that was the round where it was a bit more of an honest approach and he was still able to get the victory. And I think
now you saw one of Samurai's defensive options there was the jump back EX Fireball.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
I know you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I think actually from that point on, after that round, every round afterwards, I think XSK Samurai won with a jump EX Fireball on offense, in neutral, and throw tech evasion as well. He used it so well. And I don't know if we need to highlight every single moment where he did it, but these clutch scenarios where Akuma finds himself in trouble, what the big plus here for Akuma is the fact that he can do a neutral jump or a back jump and still change his jump arc, right? That's the limitation in Street Fighter 5 where you had not so much in other Street Fighters. You have to jump forward to change the jump arc in Street Fighter 5 for the most part.
Yeah, well, we all remember Akuma doing jump back air fireball, mate, for like 9 years.
So he took that away. But with EX, he can do that. And man, they use it so well. What was his name? Did it so well last week, the other week as well. Takamura, my goodness, he used it to such great effect. It's just such a great risk.
Listen, if you think the throw's coming, then it's a great answer. If you think a delayed button's coming, it's a great answer as well. And Akuma, when he has V trigger and a bit of bar, it's a great thing to throw out because they're afraid of the EXDP, right?
How many times do you see people trying to avoid the throw and jump and die for the jump? So they've actually guessed right. The throw came out. But you're not safe jumping. But because he's got that arc change, he can evade and do that EX. And it's got such a humongous hitbox. Yeah. Actually, there was one period that James Chen called out where it hit the back of her head. She was pretty much behind him.
In the sky is actually going to tie the set up.
What kind of hitbox was that?
It's proper mad.
It just didn't make any sense.
Proper mad. Let's move on. I know you picked out some more from some of the other players that were involved in the tournament as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar theme, actually. I really want to talk about, because I think there's a ton of really impressive Gs out there. You got Chris ECH, you got Brian F, you got Smug. But for me, Strider is just, this is what makes Strider like the G, you know? Because it's so frustrating playing against him because he's not solely reliant on that V trigger and that activation. This guy can play an entire round of just dry, boring ass footsies, G. And it is actually super hard to get around.
He would happily play every round like that.
More than happy. I mean, this guy didn't even come close to getting a V-trigger this round, so I can't remember who he was up against in this particular set.
JB, so
JB,
we already highlighted he had a really strong record against JB. And
he did, yeah.
To be honest with you, this set was a real shutdown.
JB approached it quite wildly to start off, and it was working at one point, but Strider slowly adapted to it. But this round, if you look at it from start to finish, it's just crouch medium kick all freaking day. It's just like he's just niggling away at him like for the entire round, and every little thing JB tries, it doesn't seem relevant because it's not really how Street Fighter works. Street Fighter 5 specifically, you know. Yeah. You want that explosive damage, you want that big opening, you want that Oki, but what he's doing is just a tap after tap, and he goes to reset. He doesn't even follow up for any kind of... Every time he anti-aired, it was just a meaty crouch medium from a distance. Every time. And he's looking for that jump. I think he lost the round a few rounds ago to a jump. So he started looking for the jump now, crouch medium, every single time. And this doesn't look relevant, but you'll see slowly but surely another crouch medium. The health just disappearing.
I mean, surely like the risk of crouch fierce has to be there. That's... I can't imagine...
I agree, but it looks like he's doing it like...
Yeah.
Quite almost, he's whiff punishing a few of them, and others he's just sticking out surprised. Look at that, there is it. Is that 5? I think that's 5 already. 6.
Nice, he actually whiff punished Crouch Fierce there.
Okay, that was a poorly spaced wheel kick there. So JB's got a chance, but he backdashed and he was ready. He was negative, got that jab, and suddenly he's doing the G stuff. So after look at all the health that JB's lost though, just a normal G, just to crouch.
Like, he's not even leveled up. He's not even leveled up as well. This is bog standard level 1.
I think that's 9. 9 crouch medium kicks. And how many were blocked, Logan?
Yeah.
Hardly any were blocked. Just kept on catching him standing.
And there's the fireball to close out the
And
round.
that's another great footsie tool he has as well, as that beautiful fireball. So for me, it's just, again, we can look at the standard SF5 stuff where you see a guy activate V-trigger, mix the hell out of you, and beat the hell out of you in 2 guesses and you're dead. And G's very good at that. And Strider's very good at that. In fact, one thing I cannot stand about Strider, playing against and watching him play, is when he has the V-trigger, he doesn't waste it at all. He literally just walks forward, does jab, stand light kick, crouch light punch. That's all he does. And he's buffering every single one with extremely malicious intent. Because he knows there's no point in wasting it unless I have to. Because if one of these jabs hits you, you're in the blender. So even the way he plays when he has V-trigger activated is almost the same as he's playing now, but he's then using buffer buttons instead of crouch medium. Really impressed with his strategy. Unfortunate with the drops that occurred for him in a number of his sets, but his run was really impressive up to that point as well, I must say.
What else have you got on the list there, sir?
I think we'll go with one more now, and it's just one little moment that I really loved from and why not talk about the champ again, right? Let's talk about Nephew. In this specific moment, you see he's been having a hard time in this set getting around the fireball and the footsie game of AO and Strider. And this, I just love the way he sets this up. You know, he mentioned that he'd been studying for G and strategies against him.
Yeah.
This is definitely set up. From start to finish, I feel like he set this up. He made him throw this fireball. He did that fierce backdash to make the fireball whiff. So the backdash put him in the spacing to make the fireball whiff. Saw the fireball, charged in, and caught the recovery of the fireball. It is just so clean. It's just, everything about it is just sick. I mean, I watched it about 5 times, and I'm convinced that, because a few times he did that fierce punch, and the reaction, because she's minus, is just to throw a fireball. So this time he just did fierce punch, and the backdash was just for that fireball to come out and to punish it. But I didn't realise she could step in and catch the recovery while making the fireball whiff. It's just such a matchup specific like execution and strategy, and it's art at its best. I mean, I really love that moment. It's not something you're going to do a million times in a set, but it's something that's going to win you a round.
Well, it took him to the corner, and he was able to turn that corner pressure and situation into a significant round, and that got him the first game.
Yep.
And set him on his way. Any other points that you want to raise at all?
No. For me, well, obviously there was a lot from XSK Samurai that I wanted to talk about too, but I really wanted to focus on our guy. I don't know if there's anything you particularly want to highlight, but for me, that moment there was the icing on the cake when he did that. I know there was loads more he did in the day, but for me, that moment there epitomized the amount of time he spent before this tournament studying specific matchups. And you see that when you see his sets with XSK Samurai. How many fireballs did he punish? How many reads did he make on the crouch medium kick? How many whiff punishes did he catch in neutral? So much stuff he did specifically to get round. Every time XSK Samurai did a reckless jump air fireball in V-trigger, you know, it was the vanity step into the spear and just went straight through it. He was just ready. So many things that he'd studied, and then to put that study into practice at the most intense point, you know, in tournament. You've never won a tournament this big. I'm just blown away by how he played this weekend. A deserved winner, and I think that theme continues, Logan. Constantly we're seeing the guy who plays best on the weekend is the guy who tends to be the guy who wins.
Absolutely.
Well.
I think, you know, again, we made the point earlier, it's really reminiscent of Capcom Cup, where, you know, the person who's the favourite, the informed favourite, generally isn't the one that's come through and won. It's very rare that the obvious name has taken the spot. You know, we started with that with Phenom, definitely the number one seed there. But I don't think, aside from that, I don't think a number one seed has won any of these events.
Yeah, and Daigo wasn't a number one seed.
Definitely not. No.
Take a genius to call that one happening.
A man of so much humility. Absolutely, that's exactly what it would take.
No, but brilliant. Honestly, I really enjoyed watching all those guys play. I have to give a massive shout out to Snake Eyes, Chris CCH as well. I mean, these guys were just playing incredible as well.
Snake Eyes was really enjoyable.
Oh man, so enjoyable.
Really enjoyable
and honestly, for me, super hella cheap for me. I'm sorry. That character is a bit of I can't say the word, but scumbag. More so than I realised.
What, Kage?
I'm telling you,
Listen,
man.
when things go right for Kage, he looks super strong, but
look, he's not. Look, his neutral game is super weak, right?
But so does Alex. Like, Alex looks mad strong when things go right for him as well.
No,
Do you know what I mean?
But Kage's,
come on, my guy.
Kage's corner game is literally up there with almost anyone.
Oh yeah, no, Kage's
that corner game
is
like ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's almost as good as Ibuki's. Let's move on.
She's all right.
There was a very important subject that I guess was raised during this weekend in terms of the controversy. I suppose we should talk about. I spoke about it a little bit on the Sunday.
Yeah, actually, I must say kudos to you. I think you made some really good points on Sunday.
You know, the issue of sportsmanship and conduct. And I have to say, I was very, very happy to see on the Tuesday night Punk making a public apology, specifically to Alex Myers about the names that he called him. And Myers thanking Punk for publicly apologising, and it seems like there's no hard feelings, and that's what we love to see. I mean, it's understandable that in an era of social media and professional players that you can't allow yourself to react in such a heated way, but we've definitely... I've definitely, for the last 10 years that I've been in the FGC, have seen people react to losing by, like, questioning the ability of their opponent. You know,
dude, I lose ranked to guys 10 times better than me, and the salt will make me question the ability of my opponent, but not publicly, right? That's the point you're making here.
There's more responsibilities now. You know, if we all want to play in a basement somewhere for $20 at a friendly tournament that some community heads put together, you know, we can stay there. But if we want to be on like big professional money,
this is official,
representing big international esports organizations, and attracting, you know, sponsors to get involved with a professional tour. It's not the Capcom play-in tour. It's not the Capcom amateur hour tour. It's the Capcom professional tour, and we definitely need that professional conduct. But on the other side, you can definitely appreciate the level of frustration that these players must be going through, because at the moment, you know, a lot of us feel hard times. There's a lot of people that, you know, are out of work, that are working on reduced hours and reduced money. We've all felt it. You know, I haven't DJ'd in a nightclub since mid-January, I think, and we're in August now.
Yep.
So, you know, it's hard times for everybody. But these players that play for a living, they're used to traveling around the world and playing in the best conditions that they can against players, and feeling like a sense of like fairness in the competition, right? And when things introduce into that, where I'm not just playing you, my opponent, I've got to play against random internet connection problems. I've got to play against, you know, a rollback online. I've got to play against input delay.
You could even argue power outages.
You know, I've got to play against power outages. That might be in the player's house. We had a power outage in the office of the stream the other week as well. All kinds of things are happening here. And when you do this for a job, you can understand why, you know, it means so much more to some of these players than it does. Yeah. Because look, if you're sponsored and you're in this event, like, it's not like, oh, I lose this week, but don't worry, I'm going to go to Premiere in Singapore next week, and it's fine. I can redeem myself.
No.
You know what I mean? I've got 2 events. That's it. So it's a lot of pressure. What do you think about it? Because obviously you caught up with it afterwards. I was watching it live. And there's some other stuff that I want to talk about and highlight as well.
It's interesting from my perspective, because obviously I was oblivious to I just saw the tournament.
Yeah.
Minus, you know, just with the commentary, you know, from James and Ringe, and it just, everything seemed fine to me. I was obviously surprised to see Myers, you know, beat Punk. Myers was quite open about,
I mean, you saw the slowdown in the match.
I saw the slowdown in the match, but even then, it didn't occur to me, like, that's, if you're seeing a slowdown in the match, that usually means, from the player's perspective, it is 10 times worse. That didn't occur to me. It was only when afterwards I started thinking, damn, that must have been some
That's the point that I wanted to make as well, because as spectators, what we see as spectators in the lobby is definitely not always what the players are experiencing.
I think it was our first episode of Fighting Words. I said, man, my favourite match was Angry Bird versus the other Arab Zeku player, and the match looked sick. I mean, they were like, with punishing all the hit confirms. This Zeku player looks insane. Then Angry Bird posted a video
over his shoulder,
over his shoulder of the match, and it was just teleports all over the place. I was like, my goodness, that you would have never guessed. But that's literally what it's like. So if you do actually, from a spectator perspective, as you said, see a tiny bit of lag, that usually means there's a tremendous amount of lag from a player perspective, right? So yeah, I was super shocked by that, but at the same time I kind of just got over it and thought, okay, let's see how the rest of the tournament goes. I was really enjoying the tournament. Then I saw the aftermath and I thought to myself, yeah, okay, Punk's, he's made a mistake there. You shouldn't have reacted like that. I think once you've had time to sit down and process it, you realise that, damn, that's frustrating what's happened. But the last person you should really blame, I think, is the player, you know, because the situation is kind of out of the player's hands. Yeah, I mean, you could argue there's some players out there who maybe could make more effort to have connections, but we saw Snake Eyes as well. I mean, Alex Myers had the same issue in the same tournament. Yeah. And we saw Snake Eyes post his upload and download rates, and it was through the roof, right? So these things are not necessarily based on connections.
Well, it's an interesting point that you bring up upload and download rates, because they're largely irrelevant. You know, this needs to be explored a bit more, I think, in terms by like the people that really know the technology side of it, right? Because you can have 1 TB up, 1 TB down, like the most godlike connection somewhere.
Yeah.
But like your packet loss, your ping, you know, the server that you're running through. I've had games on CFN where the start of the set is beautiful.
Yeah,
true. The third game in the set is stop motion, like we may as well be playing by post. And then by the end of the set, it's fine again as well. All of these things add up. And
but from a basic level, if you've got a guy that's got like 2 MB upload and, you know, I mean, you're screwed.
I mean, you don't need a huge amount, to be honest.
But you're screwed if it's that low, right? Because, I mean, capacity isn't going to be the definitive factor, like you said.
Yeah.
But it's going to help, I would imagine, versus someone who's using, you know, for example, you got people playing on wireless connections, and you know who you are. You know who you are.
I mean, that is a bannable offence.
This is having.
There's a reason for that, right? We know at least that much. We know that playing on Wi-Fi is no bueno, so we avoid that. But it's something that we should look into as well. You know, a lot of people are saying that playing on PC, they find that better for them in terms of the online environment. And I just literally saw Alex Vai post this week that they're looking at the potential of doing an all PC tournament for Wednesday Night Fights. I know Valle has been a big proponent of PC as a platform for competitive gaming, specifically within the FGC. Now, offline, that comes with all manner of issues that need to be addressed, both on the TO side and also probably the developer side, in terms of making it a lot more viable to run offline open bracket tournaments on PC.
Me and you attended a PC tournament.
Yeah, but again, that
was super
that is a situation where it's a lot more controllable, where it was an invitational event, it was closed off, you had a limited number of players, they came in, it wasn't 500 people plugging peripherals in and out of a device. That should improve and will improve going forward. And obviously playing on PC gives a number of opportunities and avenues in which sponsorship can be improved as well. But it's a very interesting technical side. And because now there's so much weighted on online play as opposed to offline being the default, it's got us asking a lot more questions and exploring a lot more of these things that kind of before we sort of glossed over and did look, you know, it's offline. It's online. It doesn't really matter.
Offline anyway.
I'll play you next week at the tournament, and that's what matters. You know, even the weeklies, you know, Wednesday Night Fights and NLBC, it's, you know, we're going to go and play offline, and it is what it is. And I'm just going to play online for fun or leveling up or training a specific thing. You know, it's not
it's not serious.
The serious thing, but it is what we have now. We have to look into it.
I mean, I was part of the crew last year that was literally saying, yo, man, why are online points the same as a ranking? You know, I was literally protesting they should be half the points. I was one of those guys, and I had a lot of arguments on Twitter with people who disagreed. But actually, taking that away now, as much as there's this negativity, there's also this huge opportunity that this situation has put us in as well. It's such an amazing opportunity. If we can get this right, you know.
Yeah.
Just think about what the
doors. I think one of the most interesting things about the CPT and how it's set up now with the region lock is that it puts players on an equal footing in terms of whether you're a professional sponsored player that has a limitless travel budget, of which there are a good 20 to 30 players around the world that can go to any event they want at any time. And the players that are just mad talented, but either have to focus on work or study, or they just don't have access to the finance to be able to afford to travel. And you see, looking at these players, specifically on this weekend, right, and at NA East, a lot of the North American players, you see a lot of players in North America that are very talented, but rarely will they travel outside of America.
Yep.
Look at him at the top, the Capcom Cup champion, never played outside of North America. You look at Samurai. All of his points last year came within North America. You look again, Nephew. Nephew wasn't traveling internationally.
He wasn't,
A lot of players were not able to travel internationally. And this has really given the opportunity and kind of leveling the playing field where it's just how you perform is all that matters.
That's it. You're all able to attend as long as you're in the region. It's just how you play on the day. And I think that's shown in the results, right? I remember we could rewind back to your interview with SKZ and what it cost him to go to like an EVO.
That was Chuan that said that, but
Was it Chuan?
It's like $4,000 for him to go to EVO for the weekend. Like
Crazy.
you've basically got to win.
And just think about the basic salary out there as well. It's not like it's the same economy, right? And even just now, the interview we saw from Nephew, very similar, right? This kid's just graduated, got his job. But prior to that, what on earth was he going to use to get to a tournament in France or Japan? So, it really is a fascinating situation, and it really is a great opportunity if we can overcome.
I think one of the things I would love to see going forwards with online, rather than being just an online version of a ranking event, if I may make a suggestion for anyone watching.
We're listening, Logan. Please,
I would
go ahead.
love for online to be like a qualification process for players that are not professional to get to attend some of the bigger events. So rather than having an open online event that, your pros can all get involved with and try and farm points just from the comfort of their houses, because those pros are traveling as well, right? You look at...
So is the condition to be able to enter that you're not sponsored?
I would say the condition... I would like to see a situation where we have offline events with rankings and premieres and super premieres that obviously anyone can go to, right? And then you have online events which don't reward points. They're not point-giving events for the CPT. So that should discourage professional players from entering, because why are they entering for, right? But what it does do is give the opportunity to be flown out to an event of your choice. So, the talented players that are forced by circumstance, whatever that may be, to only be able to just play at home, and they're good and they're talented. You win one of these online events, we'll take you to CEO, we'll take you to Japan Cup. We'll take you to wherever, EVO, wherever you may want to go.
Would you be against the middle ground there? Like some points and you go?
I think by having points involved in online events, it would encourage the players that don't need that support to enter.
And do you think it would get too political if we had some kind of like, you're sponsored, you can't enter kind of scenario?
I don't mind people that are sponsored entering. Like, I wouldn't ban people from entering.
Because some sponsorship deals are trash.
But like, what's the point if there's no points? Like, is Punk and 801 Strider gonna enter a tournament to get what, a travel stipend to go to an event? Like, do they need that?
I just had this thought of like Problem X, like literally like paying himself his travel budget and then getting paid to go to the tournament by winning the ranking tournament. I think I've had a conversation with a sponsored player about that, where you got your travel budget.
Yeah.
You can actually transfer it to your salary.
Yeah.
If you've got the travel covered. But yeah, I mean, hopefully no one will be that selfish.
Maybe like if you're in like the top 100 players at the moment in global ranking, then you can't enter, or so, I don't know, something like that.
Maybe something. Yeah.
But I would like online to be like a conveyor belt in which it gives talented players the opportunity to get involved. Kind of like how you have the qualification process for Japanese SFL.
Yeah, exactly.
Where they've got like an under 22s qualification.
And they did similar
thing
in Korea. In fact, that's where Oh my god, I've forgotten his name. The amazing young Korean player. He's actually ridiculous. He's playing Ibuki and Kami out. You're all six. You're all screaming at the screen, and I've forgotten his bloody name. And he had a great performance.
Korean player that plays Ibuki and Kami.
He came from him and XYZZY were in the grand finals of an under 21 like Korean event, and ever since then he has just skyrocketed into this ridiculous pro player. So it's actually a great idea. I see the potential of the idea. Yeah. I just also see a lot of pro online guys being like, yo man, online's just as legit, why do I get no points? But your argument about not including points is pretty strong. So
yeah, for me it has pluses and negatives. I feel like if you want to go pro at Street Fighter 5, the benefits of getting to go to a premiere event and what that entails outweigh getting, 15 points for getting a top 8 when you've got IDOM, Do, Jewel Kevin, Smug, or 801 Strider, Samurai, Punk, Justin Wong, all entering these tournaments and just bullying. But for me, I'd like to see more people get the opportunity to go and get involved in the FGC. And experience the awesome weekend that you have, the 3 or 4 days that you have at a premiere, even just beyond playing in the tournament. Because playing in a big tournament, as you know, your experience on stage at Evo the first time you went there.
This is another thing for an online guy.
It's a humbling experience.
Very much
right?
So, yeah.
But also the benefits of getting to go and play casual sets, money matches, whatever you want to do.
Kick his ass, Daigo, send that guy back to the UK.
Whatever, whatever you want to do on the weekend. I definitely feel that the value of that is way higher than 10, 20 points in CPT.
Well, also the experience, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like just that's where we really appreciate events, and a lot of the players have said that in your interviews. That man, forget the tournament. What about the casuals? What about the sets that you get to run with some of the best players in the world?
That's why a lot of people are super looking forward to SFL.
Yeah,
it's going to be their first chance to play offline sets.
Listen, it's the first time I've seen a bunch of guys. We just saw Problem X on Winner Stays On. Taking the game, and he's been playing tons, but you can see the difference in the mentality. Gustavo's interview as well. Offline events are back. Like, my mentality is completely different.
Yeah, Nephew saying that the rest of the year I'm going to be spending practicing for this SFL. This is the thing for me.
This is it.
We're going to talk about SFL actually in a bit, because the preseason is happening right now, and you would have just seen another episode. We're going to be talking about those matches. Shout out to the Florida community and all the people that have come through there. Of course, you have had a Capcom Cup champion in Knuckle-Doo, and Knuckle-Doo is going to be involved in SFL, so that's a great news. But we are going to get into something a little bit more fun. And that is Clip That.
Woo! I think one of my favourite moments of the show.
Each week on the show, we are going to be bringing you this feature, Clip That, in conjunction with High Fights. Of course, the man who is best known for making sure that all of the hypest moments in Street Fighter are seen by the rest of the world via his clips.
I'm loving his extended clips with the analysis as well, man.
The Just Frame analysis videos.
Loving them.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, really good, really insightful breakdown in some of the most important moments that happen in Street Fighter 5 as well. More analysis, the more information out there, the more you know. Do you know what I mean? That's what I like to see. But we are going to focus on some of the most entertaining clips of the past 7 days. Well, not the past 7 days. Last week, Monday to Sunday, last week. We got 4 for you, and it's up to you to pick your favourites. We are going to open up with this nice piece of predictive reaction from Eita against his former main.
Oh, I love this.
Let's take a look at this.
トリガー発動中のセスは非常に火力が高いぞ。ペルシャとしても油断できない。
リーチになっちゃいますね。
はい。これはリーチ。ペルシャにもトリガーはありますが、
EX ショルでもありそう。
対空からでも終わりかねないのか。
普通に。
なんだこの男、見えすぎている。い
や、考えてることがもうレベルが違う。
発動を確かに狙いたいのは分かりますけど、そこをリーサルにするんですか。
Jeez, how about that? And what a surprise. I mean, you're playing this guy's character. You should know better, right? He's played Ken for way longer than he should have played Ken. He's finally found a character that's going to be even harder to predict than his Ken. And I love the fact Ata's playing Seth, by the way. And you could see him literally on the screen saying, I dare you. I dare you to try to activate right now. Go on. I know. I used to play a character. I know
it was like the perfect space to just be able to get that super out.
Oh, mate, it was brilliant. And there you have it. Great reactions there from Ata. I had to keep that one in. You know what we would have loved to see? I would have loved to see Ata's reaction when he did that. Because he's not like the typical Japanese player. He probably jumped up with a fist pump, looked at his opponent's face and said, ha, I knew you were going to do that. That's what Ata's like. Gotta love that guy.
Mind games.
Love that guy. But there's more. There's more. And I'll tell you what,
next?
I've got to try and keep a straight face on this one. I'm going to call this clip Deja Vu. Because this is K-Brad being hit by the exact same setup again, seeing it coming 5 seconds before it came, and knowing that there's no way he's going to block it because he just can't control his instincts on what direction to hold. Please run that clip, K-Brad. We love you. This is hilarious.
Wow. Not again. Not again! Now you see. Final round. I'm so bad I got hit again!
One of the most entertaining streamers out there. I love. I could just listen to K-Brad talk.
There's only one, man. There's only one. He's amazing. He's amazing. I love how humble he is in that moment as well.
Yeah.
He's like accepted his fate, and he goes into the next round like still laughing. It was funny to him. It was funny to us. We all found it funny. It was brilliant. You know, as soon as the cross counter hit, it was like Street Fighter 4 rewind. More or less an unblockable if you're not used to it. And there you go. I just love it.
Sick stuff. Let's move on to the next one. It was the Salt Mine League finals this weekend.
Yes.
Well, the qualifiers were sick as well. We had some amazing moments from the Four Fields Falk. I have to shout out because he played great.
Amazing.
But the finals threw up some even more hype moments. And I have to shout out my guy, St. Cola, who added to the excitement of this one. Fasa, the man, the innovator of V-Trigger 2. Well, this is certainly a good use for that V-Trigger. Let's check it out here.
Hurricane cannot get hit right now. He cannot get tapped. He cannot get touched because I see the C8 on the deck.
Oh, and he throws his screen. That's a critical art.
Neutral overrated. Aegis outdated. Long have we awaited. V-Trigger 2 activated. Fasa is your Salt Mine League champion for this week. Taking it. Winner's side. V-Trigger 2 against Hurricane.
Woo! I don't get bored of hearing that. St. Cola, the innovator of the bars, and the bars so appropriately met. I'll tell you something. What made that more hype for me is the history between... I know you don't like it, do you? Logan thinks it's cheesy. He's a hater, St. Cola. Don't listen to this guy. It's amazing.
What are you talking about?
It's the long history between Fasa and Hurricane, of Hurricane just whooping the guy's
Why don't I like that?
Just, because you're a grime artist, you're a grime DJ, bars have to be so specifically executed for you.
What are you talking
you probably
about?
don't even like American accent rap.
You're
do you?
weird.
You hate everyone. That's Logan's thing. Whenever you get under his skin, he says you're weird.
You're just being weird.
Keep an eye on that, yeah? Make sure you keep this part in because I can see I'm getting to him right now. Anyway, as I was saying, I think that was an amazing call there from us.
It was. I mean,
do you love it enough to say it?
What's that?
Let's say it together.
I can't remember all the lines. I can't remember it in order. Long have we... Footsie's overrated. Footsie's outdated. Aegis overrated. Long have we awaited. V-Trigger 2 activated.
Okay, I believe you now. I believe you rated it. Okay, I take it all back.
Yeah, it was sick.
It was sick.
It was sick. I remember that from... that was a meme going around a while ago, but he always remixes it like proper sick in the moment
It was just such a great moment for it as well,
yeah,
right? Such a great moment.
Sick. I mean, basically all they did was activate V-Trigger, freeze time, and do a super, and I've seen it a million times, but it was just hype in the moment, man. Like,
no, but the whole set had got a lot of mileage off V-Trigger 2, to be fair, but that moment wasn't exactly a V-Trigger 2 moment.
It was just hype. It was sick.
It was sick.
Shout outs to St. Cola. You definitely doing about 15 tournaments that week, as per usual.
And shout out to Fasa, man. I mean, geez, that guy's been getting bodied by Hurricane to get that win. Well done to him, because I know it was long overdue. We got more, haven't we, Logan?
Last one more. What you got in the bag?
Well, I had a bit of a deliberation between the ones I was going to pick here. And we had a fantastic clip from our guy, the #1 folk in the world. But we're going to go with the one and only, the unique individual who always manages to make us laugh. Smug the Beast, meeting Idom online.
Paying his respects. Paying his respects to the champ.
Accordingly. Run that clip.
Yo, Idom with this Laura costume, I think he did an amazing job. Shout out to Idom. I want to play him one day, I never really... Oh, what? I spoke too soon. You said, what's up, Smug? How are you? I'm chilling, man. I'm big chilling. So what I got to do, ladies and gentlemen, since I'm playing Idom, I feel like it's my honor. I got to command grab him like this. I felt like he deserved that command grab for winning Capcom Cup. I had to command grab you for that. I hope you understand.
4 clips there, courtesy of High Fights. It's up to you to pick your favourite. So get on Twitter right now at Capcom Fighters and check out all of those videos. We want you to vote in the poll. Be fun to just decide which one you like the best.
I mean, going to be hard to pick this week.
I ain't really got a prize or anything.
Fantastic,
you know what I mean? No
Yeah,
budget. I've got no budget for prizes.
Something in the future. Get us some sponsors.
Give away like one of F-Word's 500 dodgy T-shirts that are not licensed at all.
Mate, what are you hating for, mate? I don't hate, mate, yeah? These are made by individual artists in the community.
Absolutely.
I'm supporting the community.
Always. You're always doing so much for the community.
That's it, mate. That's it.
Community service.
It's just in my nature, mate.
Yeah.
Community service. Sounds like a stereotype there, Logan. Treading thin ice, mate. Careful.
Oh, dearie me. Let's move on very quickly. Actually, let's take a break so I can... Woo! We're going to take a short break. We're back on the other side. We're going to talk about Street Fighter League pre-season and how excited we are for the prospect of Street Fighter League coming up as well. Don't go anywhere. It's fighting words. Capcom Fighters. Me and this geezer talking stuff.
That's right.
Back on the other side.
The curtain falls.
I'll take you downtown. Boom! That's how you start the fight and finish it quickly.
Let's have some fun.
Let me zap you. Here we go. Whip up! That's that.
Terrific wing!
My unveiling. I will be exposed to the entire world. When the time of the prophecy comes, when all is revealed, then the people of the world will rejoice, already knowing who I am. Call me Lord and Emperor.
It is God's will. Time to return to harmony. Terrific wing!
My perfection does not require any training.
beyond the battle.
Get ready.
Destroy. Begin.
Let's go.
Disappear. Kneel. The strength to crush the spirit of the king.
Alright! I really like to exercise. And skating is a lot of fun.
Time to meet your death, vile insect. The power of the continent. This is the power of the king.
Paraneuro device expansion completed. Pseudo-personality asset is imported properly. Biological brain connected. Dawn unit 0. Startup sequence will begin.
Well now, little piece of junk. Time to wake up.
Dawn unit 0. Activated.
Well, Jory, who is a piece of junk?
Show me something worth taking.
Your data is now useless. Witness the power of the content engine.
This is the power of the king!
Your data will reside in me for eternity.
Hey, what's going on? Welcome back. It is Fighting Words. We are here into our last segment. We had a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah. Actually, surprisingly, not as much stuff going on, but still tons to talk about just because the individual topics we had
The
were so
world
deep.
of Street Fighter V is ever moving, ever changing, ever entertaining, and always controversial. But we are going to get into something now, which is certainly a positive. Out there, we've got the pre-season of SFL happening every week, of course, before this show. If you missed it, you can watch the archives on this very channel, Capcom Fighters. But we're going to be running through the shows every week when we can, when we're here, when we're on air. And this week on the show, it was an all-Florida affair. Players representing Florida, either past or present. You had Brian F. against Psycho.
Love that.
And you had CJ Truth against Jewel Kevin. Jewel Kevin, of course, a new transplant over there to Florida. And Brian moving out of Florida into wherever the hell he is in the middle of nowhere. But you had, two interesting sets. Let's talk about the first one, which is Brian F. Against Psycho, opening up, of course, with Boxer against Nakali.
Yep. Yeah, it's a really, really good back and forth set. I was super impressed with Psycho. I think it started, if you look at the first round, it started like Brian F's just going to like run through this guy.
Yeah, so Brian F opening up with V-School 2, V-Trigger 2, which a lot of the Boxer players are really like high on at the moment. You saw PR Rog pretty much using that exclusively on the weekend in the CPT. A lot of the Boxer players in Europe are really excited about V-School 2, V-Trigger 2 as a combo as well. Very interesting to see Psycho using V-School 2 as well, though.
I like that as an answer. Yeah, I think that might just be a V-Skill answer for that particular matchup. But that V-Skill 2 is actually quite useful in a lot of matchups there.
Well, you saw Brian really try and like get through it.
Yeah, he seemed a bit unfamiliar with how to deal with it. That or Boxer just doesn't have a great answer for it, so you just got to respect it. But he tried to disrespect it a lot, which didn't really work out a lot of the time. Although he did seem to have an answer towards the end.
The start up on the V-School 2 and the Kali's reasonably slow.
It is,
but,
depending on your distance and what options you have.
You have to have charge, you have to react super fast to it. You have to be looking for it. When you're looking for it, other things open up. There was a sick moment in there where he used the armor on the Screw Smash.
When he switched to V-Trigger 2.
V-Trigger 1.
V-Trigger 1.
Yeah, so he went 2-0 down, obviously.
Yeah, man, that was surprising, right? But Psycho was playing sick. Cinematic, insane. Sorry, couldn't resist. As soon as I hear Psycho, he was playing insanely well. He was starting to like disrespect him a little bit as well. What surprised me though was when Brian switched to V-Trigger 1 and got the win.
Yeah,
there was like no hesitation, just straight to Colleen
immediately.
For Psycho. Why? I mean, what? I mean, Nakali seemed to be. Does the V-Trigger make that big a difference in the matchup? You can still fight the matchup. I feel like that moment was the change. It was a turning point. If he stuck with Nakali, he might have been able to close it out. But there you have it.
Well, he went back to Nakali.
He did, having sacrificed the game, though, with Colleen.
3-2 up. And then G came out. How fitting, you know?
Yeah.
You're losing the set. It's going downhill.
Well, actually, I think he won with Colleen.
Activate G.
He won with Colleen.
Yeah, he won with Colleen. Activating with G. And lo and behold, the comeback was on. It was like a long version of a G round.
2 buttons.
It was just the 2 buttons were select on the character select screen. That's what it was. But yeah, great stuff from Brian F.
Yeah, great adaptation from Brian to bring it back in.
I think Brian's really growing like year on year as a player. Like he's always been a very cerebral player.
He's also had the right mentality as well. That kind of like open sharing mentality is always going to make you stronger. As much as people try to hide stuff, I think he's got better because he's always been.
I'm really enjoying his content. His content's been putting out.
I love the him showing his journey. So he did an SF4 content the other day of his tournament run when he played Infiltration and almost knocked him out of a tournament. Can't remember what tournament it was. But man, seeing the way he's evolved since then to who he is now, he just gets better every time. So yeah, I hope he continues with that. But also a massive shout out to Psycho because I'm not familiar with Psycho.
Yeah, really strong showing from him.
Enough. But what a strong showing for him. Looking forward to seeing more from him.
That's an interesting pairing as well, right? Nakali and Colleen. I don't know if he's got other characters in there.
Yeah, I've not really thought about that. I mean, Nakali does well to cover a few matches. He does pretty okay against some characters that you forget about, like Abigail.
I guess he's a little bit stubby in the ground.
He is.
And Colleen's pretty good on the ground.
Super mobile, great minds.
So, and you got a nice variation there in, Nakali's got the 3-frame, the Wake Up EX, better options in that sense in terms of defense. Colleen
and V-Skill 1's pretty good for projectile matchups as well.
That's true.
Nice little trade. Beatsfield builds V-Trigger really well.
That's true. So I suppose maybe it is a good pairing.
Yeah.
But we have our next set, which is the main event, of course. And one of these players was very successful previously on SFL. One of them didn't have a great time, but he's back. And he CJ Truth against Jewel Kevin. Jewel Kevin, of course, moving to Florida. He was involved in the SFL, did really well. Got to the finals, didn't he, last year?
Yeah, had a great run in the SFL, yeah.
And CJ Truth is part of Alpha 3 alongside Punk and Nephew. Of course, we saw this past weekend involved. So we're getting the full run of all these players. CJ Truth's a really exciting player, man.
Super talented kid.
Mad talented. Let's take a look at some of the clips and we'll talk through this exciting set. The main event from SFL preseason. Kicking off with the characters that we would expect. CJ using Cammy, and we've got Jewel Kevin using Rashid. Far less character rotation in this one. They just locked it in and kept it true. It's more like a battle of attrition and like really solid neutral game, right?
Yeah, I feel like Cammy definitely edges it over Rashid. So something for Joel Kevin to consider actually in that, because he's fighting an uphill matchup. And of course, this is the great thing about CJ Truth and his approach to the game. He's got a couple of characters in his pocket.
Yeah, he was like very serious about Colleen, wasn't he? Last year, I'd say.
He was. Yeah, he tried to go exclusive Colleen at one point, which surprised me because he always had one of the strongest fundamental Cammys out there for me. I love the fact that he's introduced that back into his arsenal, and this is a great example as to why. Now, we did hear earlier from the champ himself, after winning Nephew, saying that he thinks Colleen edges it against Rashid as well. I'm less confident in that, but of course he knows more than I do.
But Cammy definitely does.
But Cammy, exactly. Cammy definitely gives Rashid a hard time. And you can see in that matchup why. Yeah. The Crouch Fierce being nerfed definitely playing a bit of a part as well.
Yeah, there was some crazy whiff punishes on that. There was a whiff punish in there, I think, later on in the set where it looked like he walked up and did it. It was so long.
It looked like he had all the time in the world. Like, hold on. Did he just whiff a crouch? Oh, I think I can whiff punish that. Let me just crouch me, and it still hit. So, yeah, I mean, it's still a ridiculously godlike button, but you got to be more careful how you utilize it.
Yeah, all of those, but all those fierce buttons have been significantly weakened in terms of the spacing. When you play against a character that's got incredible walk speed, like a Cammy, and Akuma is a good example as well. That they dictate the spacing as opposed to Rashid dictating the spacing. Yeah. But one of the things that I really like about CJ Truth's play is the way that he's able to turn on and off the pressure on the offense. He feels like, those high level, and Hurricane's great at this as well. Just when they turn the accelerator on and put their foot on your neck, it feels inescapable. The pressure is inescapable. But he's also really good at picking when to back off and not engage and play a neutral game. There were some really sick moments as well in the highlights where you see him. He did like a walk up in neutral and then just neutral jumped. Like he walked into the space.
What the hell?
He walked into the space which Crouch Fierce would have controlled.
Yeah.
Because he showed the stand medium kick a lot, right? And that's such an annoying button for
Incredibly
Cammy,
good button.
because it's -2 on block. It's impossible to whiff punish. Like human beings can't, especially not online. You can't whiff punish that button. You have to like a wish punish.
You have to interrupt it or wish punish it.
You have to have
and your wish punish is going to probably be the priority system.
As
opposed to actually catching a lingering.
You might catch the recovery of it somehow, like the moon. But go and buy a lottery ticket afterwards. But he walked into that space and then neutral jumped immediately, and got the punish on the Crouch Fierce. It was sick.
Huge damage and momentum as well. That was not a random neutral jump. That was like, he made him press that button. I love seeing these force plays from these players where they kind of just trick their opponent into doing these things and punish them so hard for it.
One of the cool things that I saw as well, it's actually been quite a topic of discussion on social media, was the chip kills from Joel Kevin.
Oh,
right?
man.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you were dead a long time ago before you even realised.
Yeah, but like it makes it more. What's the word I'm looking for, man? Like I don't.
You're not going to talk about the SF4 chips kill.
I hated that Daigo knocks you down in the corner, jumps the other side, jumps on your head, and cancels into a DP, and you're already dead.
Scenarios are not so common, is what you're going to say.
Yeah, I like the fact that you're already dead, but I had to spend my whole gauge. It's inescapable. There's nothing you can do about this once I touch you. But all my resources are gone to cash that out.
I quite like
I'm fine with that. Do you know what I mean? And if I don't do that, there is the possibility that you're going to touch me with a button and then activate, and then anything can happen from there. So, when I see those airtight chip out, and Rashid is so good at it as well. He's got so many. So as you said, he didn't even realize he was dead until it was too late.
Yeah, CJ started. You can see him start smiling halfway through. Like, hold on, am I? I'm dead. I'm dead.
Yeah.
But I mean, having said, look, you're going to hate this. It's not a counter argument, Logan. It's not a counter. Having said that, you cannot deny how incredible some of those moments were in the older games where people just evaded chip. Now, your argument that you said to me in a debate off camera is absolutely true. Those moments were stupidly rare. For the most part, you're getting chipped and you're dead. Right? But when those moments happen, they were incredibly cool.
They're still hype now, though, when people make a comeback from no health. It's not like they're not hype now, but the value of it is obviously much higher.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the evasion necessity before was crazy.
I mean, if there was chip kill in this game,
Nah, it's not on.
Drop me out.
It's not on.
There's unreactable full screen EX
Absolutely.
moves that are plus on block. It's not happening. Get knocked down by Guile in V Trigger 1. Just hold forward on the stick. Hold forward on the stick. It's fine.
It's done.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that set. And CJ Truth obviously cashing it out. Great comeback though from Jewel Kevin. CJ Truth getting the win though in the end, and he's got to be confident going into SFL. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, man, he's been in great form. I think he had a great run in the was it NA West?
NA East.
NA East.
He got deep into the losers bracket.
Yeah, he had a decent run there. We expected him to do better, but
he lost to Metro M, right?
He looked a bit unfamiliar against Claw as well.
And that's like to be expected, to be honest with you. Like, how much Claw practice does anyone have unless they've got loads of them super active in the region?
Yeah, it's really funny you say that because we're so freaking exposed to Claw here because we're just idiots in the EU and just love characters that aren't necessarily top 5. Then again, Claw has improved a lot, so let's not get too carried away with that statement. But I'm really excited.
I'm really
to see
interested
CJ
to see how that team does as well, right? Because like Punk's team captain, he's picked his roommate and he's picked another really talented young American player.
It's a super young team.
And it's like, you look at the other teams and they're just full of mercenaries. You don't even talk to each other. You've just gone for like the most broken players in the world that you can go for. And Punk's picked Nephew and CJ Truth, who are like, when you look at the level of players that are in there on a world stage, I mean, we saw Hot Dog and Oil King the other day. Yep. We've got Big Bird and Angry Bird coming up next week. Cien's in there. Phenom, 801 Strider. All these players that are in there that have like Problem X, Evo Champ.
Infectious team as well.
Infectious's team is ridiculous as well. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to play with my guys.
Yeah,
like,
but time and time again, we've seen that Street Fighter 5 is a young boy's game, Logan.
It's true.
It's a young man's game, you know? And these young bucks are the ones to watch out for.
Well, Punk looks like the genius now for backing Nephew, bro, because
you know what I mean?
He's in there. He's in the cup.
I guarantee CJ Truth is going to be exposed to a lot of that training that Nephew's been getting as well, just to make sure they're a formidable force. Listen, I think those guys...
There's a lot on the line for SFO. It's not like a little...
Big things
change,
this time
bruv.
round. Big things this time around. So, and everyone's taking it very seriously. So,
and you got all of the exciting stuff happening. We missed it because it was the other week, but you saw one of the clips in the Cliplat section from the SFL qualifiers. Because the way that they put their teams together in Japan, the SFL Japan, totally very, very different system. So I'm really looking forward to it this year. Last year it was kind of a bit of a wash because, you had voting players, it was limited to America only. Now we've got Japan versus the rest of the world, which I guess when you look at Capcom Cup, that's kind of what it is anyway.
Yeah,
right? 15 Japanese
I love
players.
The fact they've actually stayed true to what
and
it is.
17 rest of the world.
That's it.
That's what Capcom Cup was last year. Well, we're getting that at SFL now. Japan versus the rest of the world. I'm really excited to see it.
I can't wait, and I think the fact that last year was the way it was the way it was supposed to be. It was a testing ground, You saw these really generic uniforms set up. Capcom, we know what you're doing. You know what you were doing. Yeah,
Team
come
Psycho.
on, esports team, sponsor the hell out of this.
Team Frost.
And it's worked, and I can't wait to see.
Ever evolving, and let's credit to Capcom. I know we're on a Capcom channel right now, but they're trying new things. Like they were first out the door with a tour this year.
Yeah.
No one's even doing a tour this year, by the way. There's exhibitions and stuff going on in various other games. Capcom came out early doors, and yes, there's teething problems, but we got a tour. We've got something to watch every week.
Absolutely.
We've got storylines that we're giving them. They let us do this show where we can tell the stories of the players, shine light on the communities around the world as well. Look at some of the community events. Boy, we're not even looking at just the tour. We're looking at weeklies. We're looking at charity events put together. We're looking at the interesting regional events that would otherwise never be seen by thousands of people on this channel. So, all credit to them. They're experimenting stuff. They're trying new stuff out. They're willing to listen to feedback and change it up. And, SFL from the last few seasons to this one, bruv, when I saw them announce the players that were involved in this, I'm like, this is what I want. Fire! This is what I wanted from team tournaments was, on the Thursday at a major.
Yeah.
And it's like, Daigo and his two brethren are playing against three men from America that have got together, like kind of like the Canada Cup team tournament we had.
Canada Cup team tournament.
Do you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Nothing like it.
That team tournament there, where it's like everyone's having a bit of fun. They might have had a couple of adult beverages as well, and everyone's well. Shout out to Kichipamu, the legend. But yeah. that's what I like. I want to see the best players in the world having fun and playing about
it. It's absent at the moment. It's absent. A
Yeah.
lot of the environments we're exposed to right now don't have it. So to have team tournaments back in this humongous way may be the most exciting thing that's happened
I'm really
to Street
looking
Fighter
forward to
since
it.
its inception.
I'm just hungry to see the best players in the world play each other, and we're not getting that because everything's region locked. It's all online.
It makes
I
it
don't
that
get
more
to get to see Europe versus America versus Korea. You know, we're not getting that versus Singapore versus blah blah blah. It's all there. It's all coming together, man. I'm excited for it. Hopefully, we get some more announcements on what's happening with that. But you're going to be getting the pre-seasons every week. Speaking of every week, we're not here next week because there is no Pro Tour event. We have reached the halfway point of the season. We know 9 of the players that are going to be going to Capcom Cup, including Idom the champ. There are 10 more for us to determine.
Exactly.
And then the last one is a public vote. So we're going to be back in 2 weeks' time as we start the cycle once again, coming back with NA East 2. Who's going to take that one? Is Idom going to enter again? Is Metro M going to be getting involved? Will we see CJ Truth make another push? What's going to happen?
I hope so.
Registration is still open right now. Is the mayor of Duff City going to come out? Who knows what's going to happen? NA East 2 in 2 weeks. We'll be back with round 1 for that. And, of course, we will be recapping in 2 weeks' time here on Fighting Words after NA East 2. Hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. It's been a pleasure bringing you this show. We love doing it. It's great to talk about Street Fighter. I know you guys love talking about it as well. Let's keep the vibes going, and we'll be back real soon. Myself and F Words. Take care.
One love, peeps.